Today I would like to begin our holiday reflections on what it means to love your neighbor. As Rick has talked about recently, we looked a lot into happiness, our founding principle, as a summer theme, and explored it a lot. And moving forward, we're going to explore what loving your neighbor means at the end of 2024. We are going to do this through a lot of different individuals speaking, including a number of faith leaders. And to begin this, I would like to invite the ever-amazing and returning Pastor Michael Cobb of Danbury United Methodist Church to speak on this topic.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Whoop. Should have got the extended warranty on that. All right, let's see. Is that about right?
Perfect.
That will work?
Yep.
Okay, great. It's always hard going after Jeremy because he's saying like all the things I want to say. Hey everyone, how's it going? Did we speak about the Transgender Day of Remembrance last week? Has anybody ever been to a Transgender Day of Remembrance observance of any kind? Not too many of you. I used to come here every single week. And one of the things I learned about being clergy is that if you have to do this every week, you don't have to pack it all in. There's always next week. But I've been trying to get here for 3 weeks, and this is a busy time of year, so I feel like I have to sort of get it all out right now. All right, thank you. That's a weird compliment, but okay, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. Pride is a party. Everybody loves a party. The Transgender Day of Remembrance is a memorial service because transgender people frequently don't make it through the year, especially transgender women of color. And so the idea is to stop and recognize that these people lived, these people existed, that the world was better because they were in it, and that we are all poorer off because they are not in it. That is some somber stuff. But I think you can take it. Because what that's about is not just being there for the party. That's about being there for the hard times as well. And it's being there to comfort people that feel like sometimes right now the whole country doesn't want them to exist. And the way that you fight that is through love and through showing up and making sure that you're there even when it's hard to be there. Because sometimes it's hard to hear these things. But by being there, you make it a lot easier for people that have a hell of a lot harder time hearing it than I do. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's something to keep an eye out because I think that's only going to become more important as time goes on. I've had the privilege of speaking up here a couple of times, and I'm going to do something I've avoided doing, which is I'm going to start and end with a prayer. And the reason I'm doing that is because I came across a clergy person who's queer and publishes what they call tiny prayers. You may know that the words we use in church are called liturgy, and each week he posts something called the glittergy, which is delightful. So this is a prayer that doesn't not use any name for God, so technically you could consider it a poem if you like, but I thought the words were worth sharing. This is entitled A Tiny Prayer for Those Who Are Struggling to Pull It Together. May you look around and see how unraveled we all are. How the perfect stitches and seams of normalcy are mirages. How reality mostly compromises awkward burps and hiccups, clumsy starts and stops. And may you stop striving for an immediately perfect tapestry, and instead patiently wade through the clutter, letting go of the threads that no longer matter, and lovingly regathering the threads that do. Amen. It's by a guy named Micah Busey, and I can't recommend him highly enough. So I haven't been here for a little while, and I have to tell you, this has been a challenging time, I'm saying this ironically, to be a straight white man. And the reason for that is because I keep seeing and hearing people talk about what straight white men believe and how straight white men have voted in large numbers for candidates that I find abhorrent, because evidently that's what straight white men like. Those of you who are not straight or white or men, you may be used to people saying things about you that you don't agree with. You may be used to people saying, well, you know what they're like. They're all like this. And you think, wait a minute, I'm nothing like that. But some people will speak very loudly in order to tell people who you are and what you believe and what you stand for. And I really don't like that. And so that's one reason I'm glad to be here to say it really loudly. I can't help but notice that when we're here, there are cars that drive by, and many of them will say, all lives matter. And while we were setting up, I heard one that said, all lives matter, not black lives. All lives matter. That seems an important shift to me. That seems a very important shift to me. That's worrisome. That just means that being out here is all the more important, because this says that's not how it works. That all lives matter, but we probably ought to point out the black ones first. So thank you for being here for that. One of the things that I thought about was, you all know what a great guy I am because you know almost nothing about me. And in terms of people telling my story, I thought back to, like, what's the nastiest breakup I ever had? Would I want that person to be the one to tell you all about me? No. And yet that seems to be what we have when we decide to let other people speak for us. I say this to encourage you. And I say this to encourage you because this group right now matters a lot more than it did 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And the reason for that is when you all started coming out here, it was as a public witness for something. And in the last month now, we've had a much larger public witness against all of this. So in other words, we came out before to say, you know what, too many people are being silent. We want to speak up. Now, you've had a whole lot of people speak up and give a lot of people a lot of reasons to despair and to fear and to give up. So what you're doing now isn't simply saying, I need to speak my truth. What you're doing now is countering a hell of a lot of hatred and destruction. And that makes this more important than it's ever been. So thank you for being out here. Also, I want to remind you that you are all out here. You're part of something. You're part of a peace-loving community that is willing to fight for justice. Not just you and not just you, all of you. That's important because this can get exhausting. And I want to remind you, you have friends and colleagues and strangers who are willing to do this when you need to take a break for your mental health, for your emotional stability. Sometimes you just can't take it, but that's okay because you have other people here that can and that will. I want to encourage you to be gentle with yourself. This was never a sprint, but man, it just got a whole lot longer and it's going to be needed. Take care of yourselves. Self-care is really important. And for this group, self-care sometimes meaning, you know what, I need to have someone else hold that sign today. I haven't held a sign in a little while. I'm holding a sign today, and that means it's someone who couldn't be here, who's maybe watching online. I've got your back. You're covered. I just want to recommend that to people. Take care of yourselves that way. Yeah. I saw Jeremy not too long ago in one of the best things that I've done in the past month. And I can't recommend it highly enough because there's some things that I care about. And it was on a call for Not Just Us, which is a group that is spread across the state. And I live on the far opposite side of the state, so I generally have nothing to do with this. And the call was to get together to check in. There are some things that I care about a lot. I primarily care about fighting homophobia and fighting racism. I care about these things a lot. And on this call, there were people who really cared a lot about justice for Palestinians. They cared a lot about working against systemic poverty and systems that are set up so that it is impossible to win. There are people on this call that were working actively fighting anti-transgender legislation, fighting actively so that people who are non-binary have public representation, and so that they're not simply legislated out of existence, as we've seen people trying to do this week. People that are fighting censorship, that's something that matters a lot to me too, in favor of minority-owned businesses and doing things to make it easier for people who traditionally haven't had a shot to get a shot. Those aren't my issues, but they're things I care a lot about. And it reminded me of something, and if I just say one thing here, hear this. There are so many people working so hard for justice, and you're not seeing them because they're doing it in other parts of the state, and they're not all live streaming, but they're fighting hard. And they're fighting hard in a lot of places I am not usually at. And that means I needed a reminder about how much is being done. I want to remind you right now, all of these things, in the same way that we have each other's back when we can't be here, we all have people who are working on those things. We're part of that because we're part of a large, justice-loving community that is willing to fight for it. Remember that, because I got to tell you, over the past couple of weeks, it has felt very, very lonely to care about other people. So please remember that. There are so many people that are going to need you, and a lot of them are the people that are flipping you off when they drive by. Here's what I mean about that. I saw something online about this past election that I thought was very interesting. There was a very high percentage of New Yorkers who voted to re-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and to re-elect Donald Trump. And she said, how is this possible? I would think that if you like one of us, you might not care for the other one of us. And what happened was you had a lot of people who didn't really have a lot of good reasons why they did this, other than, well, you both seem to shake things up. That is very important, because these are people that one day are going to say, oh, I didn't understand that at all. That is completely different from what I thought. And they're the people that are going to come out here one day and say, I guess I was on the wrong side. It's your job to give them a soft landing. Not all of you. Some of you are going to say, you know what, you've been fighting against my rights for years, and I'm not really ready to do that yet. But for the rest of you, if people want to try to get a piece of this, if people want to try to learn how to do what it is that you are also good at doing, you may have some people that are going to need some help doing that because they just don't know how to do this. Most of us don't know how to be a public witness. Most of us don't know how to say out loud things that are really hard to say. I think you're going to see the job of this group changing a little bit, and part of it is to find a place for people who realize they've been duped. I think you're going to see a lot of that happening. Sorry, I shook my phone and now I'm all over the place here. All right, just a couple of other things. As a clergy person, sometimes I counsel couples and sometimes I perform weddings. I will perform a wedding ceremony for anybody who needs one, and I will waive all of my fees. And I'm saying that because there are a lot of people that I've seen that think right now, we better get married right now before our right to get married is taken away. And I want to do whatever I can to make that easier for possible to do that right now. So if you know anybody who's in that situation, please point them towards me. And I guarantee you, other clergy that you know feel the same way. But I just wanted to put that out there. Another thing, it's Thanksgiving this week. We have a lot to be thankful for, but some of you are nervous. I know I'm nervous. We have a Facebook group that is active. I have posted on that page. I encourage you, if you need to message me, because some of you might be in family gatherings that might feel lonely, or you might feel attacked, and it might be because you are being attacked. You are not alone. You could reach out to anybody in this group, and I bet they would respond. But I'm telling you, you can reach out to me, and I will respond as well as I can, because giving thanks isn't supposed to be about getting attacked. It's about recognizing what we have to be thankful for. I read an interesting comment from someone who said that when she gets in these situations, she pretends she's an anthropologist, and she studies a certain type of unpleasant person. I won't use the word. My congregants are probably watching. But a certain type of unpleasant person. She pretends she's an anthropologist studying them. And when she meets one of them, she says, oh, wow, I've actually found one of these in the wild. It's a way of studying them. And it's a way of saying to one of these people, how did you get to think like this? Or tell me how you came to this conclusion. I offer that to you as an opportunity, if there are opportunities to maybe take the temperature down on things, It's a tool to do that without putting your heart out there to get stomped on. And all that said, we have so much to be thankful for. This group has done the work. There are a lot of people that, when they woke up the day after the election, had no idea what to do. You all know what to do. There are a lot of people that said the world has just changed. You all know that a lot of politics is local, and that working for what you can in your own community is the very best thing that you can do, no matter what is being done on a national level. That's something to be thankful for. We all haven't been here since the beginning. I think you two are here since the beginning, and that's about it. What that means is that every day there are new people who are recognizing the importance of doing this work, recognizing the importance of speaking up, recognizing the importance of helping other people who are crushed and fearing for their rights right now. We're all doing that. I mention this because one of the things that you've heard me say before, and I'll say again today, you are all aware of the terrible things. And that's because the really beautiful things have lousy PR. But there are beautiful things. There are other people that are doing this work. There are people that have given smiles and waves driving by, letting you know that. I guarantee you there's a lot more people thrilled to see you out here than there are that smile and wave. Sometimes because there's someone else sitting in the car that makes them uncomfortable. But you're letting them know there's solidarity here in Southbury, and that's a big, big deal. You're also giving people a chance to see that there is a next week, because by now they know you're going to be out here next week, right? That means that this is something that's ongoing, and for some people, they really, really need to know that if they stick their neck out, they're not going to be left alone. I know this isn't maybe what you thought when you invited me, but I think it's important, because holidays are supposed to be times of joy, and sometimes they're difficult for people. I think you got to acknowledge that. I don't think you want to pretend that's not the case. But you can be thankful despite that. You can be thankful thinking about the ways that the local food bank has received juice because of this group. The ways that people have already come out and said, thank you for letting me know that I can be safe in my community in this group. That's how you keep going. That's what I give thanks for. It's not just one or two things. It's all of it. And it's all of you. And I'm not here that much. You might not realize how much this matters. Boy, does it matter a lot. I started with a little prayer. I'm ending with a little prayer. This one is called Today's Tiny Prayer for those who are finding it difficult to be optimistic. May you welcome the non-binary knowledge that optimism and pessimism are not your only choices. And may you commit to a truth in between. A truth that exists even when you don't remember it. That you have resources, community, and your own gifts to offer. That there is meaning, even when the path ahead is unclear. And may you stop trying to force assured steps and instead wander with the rest of us for a while. Thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving. Woo!